Good day, it's Father Tom, and I am glad to be with you today. And we go from one thing to the next. Hallelujah, hallelujah. You know, I'm thinking about some words that I heard a priest say, Father Karapi specifically, when he said, "The church is the light of the world." Jesus gave us that reality. The church is the light of the world. You see, the big problem in the world today is that most people don't know who they are, and they do not act upon who they are. I'm going to give you some real examples. Most people have been intimidated from being who they are. And as a result of it, we have clones. Oh, not physical clones, but clones that are psychological, clones that the way they act. We have clones. Most people don't know who they are, and as a result, they make no effect upon society. I was always taught that we were to have an effect upon people. That's why I became a teacher first. I wanted not only to teach math and science, I wanted to have an effect upon people. Now, that might sound a little arrogant, but you know what? Why would I want to be a teacher with a low pay and not have an effect upon people? That would be absolutely ridiculous. And so I began teaching in a parochial school. I was the only man at that time in that school. I had a hard time at the first 6 months, but things all ironed out. But my purpose was not only to teach math and science, though I did that, and I did it the best that I could. My purpose was to have an influence on these young people so that they would carry away with them more than ratios and percentages, but they would carry away with them at least that, but they would carry away with them that at one time in their life they had met a man who had faith. As a result, you see, I remember Gregory. Gregory was a young boy I had in the 6th grade, a beautiful child. I loved this child. He was so kind and so gentle. And I remember him coming to me in the 8th grade, 2 doors away. I was in the 6th, he was in the 8th, and he said words like this, "Father," not Father, he called me Mr. D. "Mr. D, sometimes it's very hard to believe." I did not know what Gregory was fighting within his life. But I found out later, Gregory died of AIDS. I did his funeral. Unfortunately, I just want to tell you, I was so broken-hearted that he couldn't call me when he was sick in the hospital. So broken-hearted. Why? Because you see, that wouldn't have meant anything to me. The only thing that would have meant anything to me was Gregory, who loved God. And you know, I do not know Gregory's past. I do not place him under condemnation. But my heart went out when I did the funeral that I wasn't there for him, because he, in his own mind, thought I would be ashamed of him. Now, I have no idea why he was into AIDS, and it was really none of my business. But I knew the little child that lived in Gregory, that loved Jesus Christ. I knew the little child, and I knew the young man as he grew up that loved Jesus Christ. My last image of Gregory is before the Blessed Sacrament at St. Pius Church. He had a leather jacket on, and he was in the sacristy where the Blessed Sacrament was praying. I want to tell you, if we as the church cannot have an effect upon people, like what good are we? What good are we? If truly the Vatican Council II said the church is lumen gentium, that is the light of the world, then that is who we are. And I will not be intimidated in being lumen gentium, at least a light. I will not be intimidated. No one will intimidate me. I will say the things I need to say. Hopefully they will be said not in anger, but sometimes they have been said in anger. But in caring. I do want to tell you that even in anger, there is caring. Because if the church would just be who she was, you see, the church is just like everybody else. We're afraid to be who we are. We are led by fear. Also, people are afraid to be who they are. They are led by fear. What will people think of me? How will they react? I'm going to tell you, I made up my mind a long time ago that if I was going to be rejected, it was going to be me that was going to be rejected, and not a picture of me, and not some image of me. I made up my mind a long time ago. If people were going to receive me, it was going to be me they received, not an image of me, not a picture of me, not a mask of me. You see, as I read the prophets, and the prophets are ever so important in the life of the church at this time. As I read the prophets, there were men and women who were in a minority, in a religious system that wanted them dead. Why? Because they spoke the truth and they would not back down. As a result, many of the prophets were killed. Many of the prophets were placed in jail. Jeremiah was put in a cistern. The prophets were hated by the religious institution of the day, by Judaism. But you see, Jesus is a prophet, at least. When Jesus cast out demons, they say a prophet has appeared in Israel. When Jesus raised the widow at Nain, her son, a prophet has appeared. When the woman at the well looked and said, "You must be a prophet." The man born blind, "You must be a prophet." The men walking to Emmaus after the resurrection, "Have you not heard of the prophet Jesus?" The church is called to be prophet. I'm reading a book, The Violence of Love, by the prophet Bishop Oscar Romero. And he says things that really make me think. If preaching, he says, is a preaching that does not make people uncomfortable that are in sin, it is not the gospel of Jesus Christ. If preaching just causes people to smile and doesn't cause people to reflect on